to call this meeting to order of the Mangum City Hospital Authority. If we could have a roll call.
Lively,
Here.
Heisel,
Here.
Van Zandt,
Here.
Hopper. Here. Webb.
Here. Okay, I believe we have a quorum. Moving on to the consent agenda. I would like to group 1 through 5 together. I'd like to make a motion that we approve 1 through 5.
I'll make a motion. I mean, do we need discussion?
Just a second. And then discussion.
I'll second, then discussion.
At this time, if we could have discussion. Okay, let's call for a vote.
Lively,
Yes.
Heisel,
Yes.
Van Zandt,
Yes.
Hopper.
Yes.
Webb.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Do we have any remarks or by the audience not pertain to anything on the agenda? If we could, please keep it under 2 minutes. Okay, great. Moving on to item number 6, December 22 CEO report.
Okay, keep this short and sweet. I think you've seen the report. Keep in mind this was December, not necessarily today. Our patient care continues to be outstanding. Seen a moderate increase in flu cases. We, at the time I wrote this, we had a patient number at 17. I think today we were at 12. Finished December with an average of 210 patients served in the emergency department. We continue to put an emphasis on our social media presence, and plans are in motion to increase that. Year-to-date statistics, 1,853 ER visits, 26,995 labs, and 2,638 radiology tests. And I do have just a few. Our case manager was week before last received some good testimonies I want to read to you real quick. It won't take just a couple of minutes. Number one, the staff here go above and beyond for my mother, and I want them all to know that I thank them for that. Second one, the staff at this hospital are so kind and helpful, and they have made us comfortable with what is going on. The third one, is Whitney an LPN or a PA? Because she is so educated and took her time to talk to me about what is going on with my dad and his labs. Kudos to Whitney and the rest of the staff for that matter. Fourth one, please let all of the staff at this hospital know that they're doing a great job and we wouldn't go anywhere else. Fifth one, if for any reason either of my parents get sick again in the future, Mangum is a hospital we will always come to for care. I had a lady call me regarding some business information, and after we concluded that discussion, she said, I want to let you know I was in the ER a couple of months ago. I couldn't have been treated any better. Excited about it because I can't mention her name. And another lady, I overheard her having a conversation with Bradley at Puckett's, and she was really bragging on one of our providers. And so continue to get a lot of unsolicited positive comments. Any questions? All right, thank you.
You know, one question I would have, and I don't know about HIPAA laws and the way to do that, but turning probably the most powerful social media statement that you can have are those statements. Is there a way to get a disclosure release upon that and allow that for the public? Because
Yes, good idea.
that would be the most powerful statement that you can have right there.
We're looking at our social media guru,
I don't know about that.
and she has corporate help with that as well. Good idea. Thank you, Carson.
Okay, moving on to item number 7, CCO report.
Yes, sir. For the month of December 2022, following the 4 pillars of success, under excellent patient care, we were proud to report the rehab team says a 100% improvement of the standardized assessment scores of all patients that were receiving therapy. Also, our wound care team reports 0 hospital-acquired pressure ulcers during the month of December. Moving on to excellent patient care. This one will be a bit lengthy, but I think it's worth reciting. Of the 281 patient days during December, MRMC infection preventionist reports 0 hospital-acquired MDROs. An MDRO is a multi-drug resistant organism, which is a concerning report from the CDC that states the prevalence of MDROs in U.S. hospitals and medical centers has increased steadily over the last decade. MRMC's outstanding performance is likely due to excellent compliance in hand hygiene, personal protective equipment, and strict isolation practices. You can see the site there from the CDC if you'd like to look that up. Following the Preserve Rural Health Care, we're proud, in addition to the numbers that Dale shared, our lab completed 2,337 diagnostic studies, and their X-ray department completed 214 X-ray studies. Preserving Rural Jobs, we have been interviewing some regional professionals, even getting some coming in because of the care that they may have or their family may have received in the ER and an inpatient. I'm also proud to say that many offers are being accepted by some local and regional professionals. Any questions? Thank you for your time.
Good stats, by the way.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think it really highlights the level of care that you're providing out there, so thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on to number 8, the quality report.
All right, the quality report for December, we had 16 acute, 6 swing, 17 discharges, 281 total patient days, 209 ER visits, average census was 9.1. 4 AMAs, 2 readmits, we had 2 falls without injuries. We had 1 ER death. We did have 1 UTI. 1 code blue. We had 2 acute and 17 ER transfers for the month of December. Any questions?
Okay, if we don't have any questions, let's move on to number 9, the hospital financial report.
That's me. Hey, good evening, everybody.
Hey.
Sandra speaking. I'm gonna go over the year-end 2022 financial statements, the monthly trend for December. And to get us started, cash receipts for the month came out to 1.7 million, of which about 585,000 of this is related to an interim rate review settlement we received for 2022. Cash disbursements totaled 1.1 million. Average daily census was slightly greater than about 8.5. The year ended at just shy of an ADC of 10. Net patient revenues came out to almost 1.3 million, with total operating revenue resulting in 1.7 million. The material $400,000 increase is due to the recognition of the remaining COVID grant monies. Operating expenses were slightly over 1.4 million, which is still in line with our year-to-date trends. And the month resulted in a positive net income of 205,000. Do you have any questions?
Yes, the ABC 10, what's the acronym for ABC? Or did I get that down wrong?
The total for the year?
Average daily census.
Oh, ADC, okay, cool,
Oh, yes, I apologize.
Sorry.
Average daily census is ADC.
okay, perfect. What was our total funds received for the year of 2022? How many $1 million passed through the hospital?
Cash receipts for the year came out to 15.5 million.
And how much of that, how much money did we pay down in total debt in 2022?
Let's see, let me jump up something real, give me one second,
Sorry.
please. No, you're fine, it's an excellent question.
Arthur, if it helps, I can tell you we paid down over $10 million in ERS debt on the last, since 2019.
Excellent.
I'm sorry, that was ERS debt
Since
Sorry,
2019.
that's Medicare loan. You know,
Since-
almost $8 million of that pertains to even 2018 and back. You'll have about 1.4, I think, in payments left. It'll be it'll be, I think, 9.4 million, just related to before 2019, before the dot-com sale that we'll pay back.
Wow. That's an incredible amount.
Could I kindly request to pull those numbers together for you and,
Yeah,
present them?
yeah, that'd be cool.
Thank you. I'll pull the debt schedules together and that way, you can see it in a
Yeah,
document too.
yeah, that would be
Okay.
just awesome.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Much.
Does anybody else have any other questions? Okay, moving on to item number 10, which is
Clinic report.
the clinic.
Jeff, you're up.
Good evening, Mangum. This is Jeff Cleveland reporting on the clinic. December was a challenging month, as we all kind of understand. I believe it was the December 12th that Tiffany tendered her resignation. And on top of that, there were several days of illness, PTO, illness within the provider, and illness within the staff and family. So our days were limited. I do want to thank Daniel and Dale for assisting with getting some help down there when the front end staff was down and the nursing staff was down. So kudos to them and the help that came from the hospital. I greatly appreciate that. Jeff Rand did come in and assist on those days of PTO and kept the clinic afloat. So we really are appreciative of that. As you can tell, it's 167 visits. Not the greatest month, but absolutely not the worst month. So we were okay. We survived that. Looking at your payer mix, it's a new addition I put into the report. Medicare was 43 of those 167 visits, and Medicaid was 63 of those visits. So that's a trend that we will start looking at and kind of start monitoring. Geographically, out of the 167 visits, 118 came from the Mangum area, and the next was Granite at 13. So there's probably a little room for some marketing when we get our feet back up underneath us. A total of 2,087 visits for the year of 2022 is what I had. Again, we are excited about a new manager coming in at February the 1st, I believe. So next week, we should have a new manager that will help greatly. And as you talked about earlier, prior to the meeting, and later on in the discussion here, we think we have a really, really solid candidate for Tiffany Forster's replacement. Anything I can answer real quick?
So what is the current staff? We have a nurse and we have front end, and then whoever the
Yes.
rotating provider?
We have like you said, a rotating provider. Kay Hamilton has done a great job in filling the schedule with the month of January, and we're now working on into February as well. But yes, ma'am. Right now, we have a rotating provider and a front-end staff, Kaylee Billy,
Okay.
and an LPN, Brianna Panetta. And then, like I said, starting Monday, we will have Jessica starting as the manager. And she too is an MA certified certification, so she can room if need be.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And also, thanks for the added columns on your report.
Yeah, those were really cool.
Thanks.
I really enjoyed that on there. The visits per geographic, the
Well,
payer mix.
insurance and all that,
Yeah,
yes.
that's also
Yes.
very helpful. And then too, all of it was great, so thank you. Really, really like the
Thank
new
you very
report.
much. Appreciate it.
Question, sorry, just saw it on my paper. When you write minimal distribution regarding the COVID home testing, would those be the tests that we could pick up at drugstores and pharmacies at no charge? Is that the
Those
same
are,
equivalence?
Yes, ma'am. So what we have is a surplus of COVID home tests that were shipped to us, and this is actually, I'm experiencing this at all of our clinics. COVID has gone down, or the test, the need for the home testing appears to not be as much as it used to a year ago. So we do have a surplus, a stock of COVID home tests that we have for anybody who wants them.
All
It's
right.
just that the desire for them are diminishing.
Well, maybe if we all post about it, they will know, because I know I drove
don't
through
know.
puckets to get some, back when
I
they
never
had
did
them.
get any.
You didn't get any?
You didn't
Well,
get 'em?
that's, well, I'm like,
Wow.
I
if
never
we
did.
have them, why not just blast it and go, hey, by the way, because most people won't call the 1-800 number or, go online. But if it's a surplus, we can do it as a PR thing and rah, rah, rah for the
Is this at
clinic.
the hospital, in the clinic, or just the clinic?
The clinic. Right.
I'm not sure, Dana, do we have my thoughts?
No, no, no.
All right, so it's clinic specific. All right, but that's good knowledge to have.
We'll get that.
In my
added
choir
into our-
alone, I have 2 people out on COVID, so whether we hear it or not, clearly there's some
Excellent
still out
idea.
there.
We'll add that to our social media posts.
Yay. Freeze free,
Good.
social media. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. Y'all have a great evening.
Okay.
Now, moving on to item number 11, please. Oh, sorry, anybody else have any more questions? All right. Item number 11, please, the clinic financial report.
Again, Andrea.
Welcome back.
Thank you. All right, so I want to start off with the clinic financial statements by just saying that, the numbers that you see in the cost report allocations column, those are, they're estimates based off, our 8-month interim rate reviews. So those we will not have a, more final number until we file the cost report for the hospital. So just, I just wanted to let you keep that in mind. So for revenues, we had 519,000. Expenses are currently at 834,000. And so the loss comes out to about 316,000. And I also wanted to add for this piece that this is where the 340B program will have a very high impact in helping to reduce this loss.
Good.
Yeah, to add to what Andrea said, you know, if we achieve what we are set out to do, then I have every confidence that Jeff and his team there will achieve this, and then some. But we're projecting about 280,000 for the year, and that's a conservative thing we think we can get to in 2023. So the objective is to try to eliminate almost all of this loss at some point in time. So, but we don't net it in this report, and one of the reasons why is because we also get some of all the 340B is attributable outpatient revenues. Some of that comes to the ER, or can come to the ER, but for the most part, it's kind of the clinic.
Does anyone have any questions?
Okay. Moving on to item number 12, discussion and possible action to approve the purchase of a replacement server.
Chad, you're up, in case you can't hear.
Yep, we currently have a server at Mangum Hospital that has been failing. We've been trying to do everything we can to keep it up and running. It is way past its age as far as being a replacement. This server is critical to the entire network at the hospital, as this server is what controls the entire network at the hospital. All the permissions, access, everything goes through this server. So when this server crashes or goes down, it ultimately takes the entire hospital down. As far as no internet, no phone system, no EMR, nothing works when this server fails, which is why we think the server is critical and needs to be replaced. We recommend working with Andrea that we put this on the 48-month plan proposal to spread the cost out.
So was the total cost of the server approximately 30,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's $29,863.09. Where Mangum doesn't have a tax associated with them.
How long will it take to get?
We should be able to have that within 1 month.
How long will it take to install?
It'll take us about 2 days.
That seems very cheap for a server.
Does it really?
Yeah, or it does to me, but I'm used to the bigger.
I took and had it reviewed, the numbers, the stats and all on this server, and it is within all the standards of that.
Okay.
I'd make a motion, we approve the purchase to replace the server.
I'd like
I'll
to
second that motion.
Okay, if we could call for a vote.
Lively,
Are we not having discussion?
Nope. Yep. Sure.
I was just wondering, did you get the 3 different quotes? I mean, were there 3 different quotes, or is this just it?
Chad, did you hear the question?
This is the only quote we got. I mean, Dell is a preferred vendor and stuff, and we have a better pricing from them. We have all their vendors. All their vendors are gonna go through Dell as well, so it would be, instead of bypassing using their company, we would just, instead of paying them extra, we just went straight to Dell.
Oh, and I understand that it's necessary, absolutely.
Reason she's asking, if I may, we kind of have to comply with federal rules or what have you, to get always 3 bids, so at least we have to ask, right?
Well, but
About those bids, but.
I think if
again,
it's on the list, is that correct? Corey,
Then
we
can't
don't
just-
have to go through the bidding process because that bidding process has been done
All
for
right.
us.
All
That's
right,
all I needed.
that's why we
Thank you.
said, that's approved.
Good deal, yes. Call for the vote.
Okay, call for the vote.
Lively,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Van Zant,
Yes.
Heisel,
Yes,
Webb,
Yes.
gotta have technology. We can't afford to divert.
Moving on to item,
Good job, IT, by the way.
item number 13, discussion and possible action to approve Granite Drug 340B agreement.
Yeah, this is Dennis again. This is just simply when the Mangum Drug Company closed, it's just being replaced by Granite Company, or Granite Drug Company, same ownership, same terms. There's no changes in what we had. It's just when they closed that one pharmacy, they terminated, the agreement automatically terminated and they're replacing it with the exact same piece. So, no cost difference or anything to the hospital.
Any discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay. Lively seconded, I believe. This time, if we can call for a vote.
Lively,
Yes.
Heisel,
Yes.
Van Zant,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Okay, moving on to discussion and possible action to approve JCMH patient transfer agreement.
What you have before you there, if you can see that, just a standard agreement between our facility in Jackson County to transfer those patients that may need a higher level of care, more definitive care. And then the need coefficient to this is the possibility and agreement to get those patients back once that need is met, should they need some extended care. Any questions, comments, concerns that you'd like to cover with now?
Did something bring this official agreement about between Mangum and Jackson County, or?
I'm sure just the standard approach and then Tyler rules and things like that. This seems to be pretty common. We have something very similar in place already with OU.
Okay.
It's probably just kind of trickling down to some of the smaller hospitals.
Is there anything in writing that says that our transfers will be returned to our hospital for our swing beds instead of being transferred to their own hospital for swing beds?
There's not a specific in writing, however, in this agreement, it does have some verbiage along those lines.
Okay.
We would love to see that. In fact, I'd like to send them with a sign, please return to MRMC, but
Yes.
we can't do that.
We'll get you stickers.
Property of.
Please return to.
Yeah,
Yes.
return to sender.
And use our ambulance service.
Any discussion or questions? Okay, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the transfer agreement between Mangum Regional and JCMH hospitals.
I'd second.
Call for a vote, please.
Lively,
Yes.
Heisel,
Yes.
Van Zant,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to item number 15, discussion possible action to approve the Blue Cross Blue Shields LOI.
So is this what we discussed?
Letter of intent, yes.
Okay, this is what we discussed last month then.
This is Lori. Just to give you a quick update, so back in May of 2022, Governor Stitt signed a law that required the state to issue requests for proposals to at least 3 Medicaid managed care contracts, health plans. And those plans would cover, the plan would cover physical health, behavioral health, and prescription drug services. Blue Cross and Blue Shield is one of the plans that is submitting a proposal for that line of business. And they sent over a letter of intent that if they are awarded that business, that they would like to contract directly with Mangum Hospital for those services. And so this is just a letter of intent to kind of lock arms with them if they're awarded the business, the managed Medicaid business.
Are we all right with the allowables? Because I see that they're quoting, and I speak, quote, "are consistent with those allowed under the current Medicaid Sooner Care program and their Medicaid rate." That was one of the discussions we had, I guess, last month. So is this a little bit more promising on this letter of intent than prior, what you all were telling us?
You know, as far as allowables and reimbursement is concerned, of course, until you have the direct information in paper in front of you, or the contract in front of you, it's hard to really speak to that. You know, they're stating they're gonna try to align with the current Medicaid allowables.
Yes.
And so, I believe that would be what we would look for when they submit a proposal. That's what we would probably get something within that range, if not exactly that.
All right, at least we're not getting less, is what I'm getting at, right? That's like consistent with current, not that we're gonna get less than what we currently have been getting as Medicare or Medicaid allowables.
No, I do not believe we'll be getting less.
Good.
It would be at least the Medicaid allowable or more.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I'll make a motion to accept.
To approve.
If we could call for a vote at this time, please.
Lively,
Yes.
Heisel,
Yes.
Van Zant,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Okay, moving on to item number 16, discussion regarding the clarification of how cohesive defines or categorize a core employee and or a agency staff employee.
Okay. We understand that there's been a written request from board members for cohesive to define or explain a core employee and an agency staff employee. Neither phrase is a strictly defined term in either the healthcare industry or HR industry. A core employee might generally, in this case, refer to W-2 employees of healthcare resources, all of whom work at the Mangum Hospital or clinic. Agency staff generally refers to individual workers at the hospital via a staffing company. They're generally 1099 rather than an employee of the hospital. It should be noted that this request, or one very similar, has been a topic of conversation on more than one occasion, and the answer's always been the same.
If I may, the answer has not always been the same. I am the one who's been posing the same question since February of last year. Since we did not get a specific direct answer, I chose to put it in writing. So the statement that you just gave, I'd like to see that in writing again. It was just a follow-up on topics that have been part of discussion of this board, and trustees have not gotten the answer or an answer given. So putting it in writing is like that last resort. Thank you.
Okay. Would you like that emailed to you?
Yes,
Okay,
clearly.
will do.
To all.
Thank you.
Discussion possible regarding the current composition of the compliance committee, in removing Cheryl Lively and adding Lisa Hopper to that committee.
Currently, there are two assigned to that committee, which are Cheryl Lively and myself. And we'd like to add Lisa Hopper onto that committee, and if that means that Cheryl has to be removed, then that is the motion on the floor. Any discussion?
So
There's two people.
Yeah, I understand, but what I'm trying to, are we asking to add a third?
Yes, we're asked, well, I originally in writing asked to add Lisa Hopper to that committee so that there would always be two present if need be, if we had anything come open. And the request came back with it being on the agenda to remove one, to add one. I reached out and it seemed all right, and so the way that it is written, I'm proposing to vote on behalf of that, to put Lisa onto that compliance.
I think we need to table this matter till next month.
Why? What discussion are we not having right now about that?
Well, first, Ilka has made a motion to remove Cheryl and add Lisa. So we need to figure if that's gonna be seconded.
I don't know what the compliance committee is, and so I just need more
It's a
information.
committee that we have been appointed for
Time
1
out.
year.
Is there a second to Ilka's
Okay.
motion?
I'll second it.
Okay,
I'm
Cheryl
opposed
seconds.
to it.
Now we can have a discussion on it.
What was is it something that the board formed, or is it something that the hospital formed and we're just a part of?
We're a part of, we were supposed to be part of the compliance meetings that are supposed to be held regularly. In 3 years, we've been once, because there was a possible emergency HIPAA violation, that's the only time. But, we'd like Lisa as a clinical or clinician to be on that compliance team. It's supposed to be the two people on the board that if there's any issues out there, whether it was complaints or whether it's employees or what have you, it was those two board members to go out and work with the cohesive team. That is what this board is, or that commission.
Not exactly accurate,
Won't you define it?
but first, yeah, only 2 board members can be on it. I mean, it doesn't have to be any board members, just when it was composed, we put 2. If you have 3 on it, you have to call a public meeting.
Right.
Every time it comes in there, and we can't have open meetings. And having a compliance committee is part of the conditions of participation is handed out through Medicare to ensure that we're compliant with the conditions of participation.
We do have our corporate compliance director on Teams, her, if you'd like for her to answer questions.
No, because this is just a formality on our side. Take
Okay.
one off, put one on.
Well, I think Ronnie had questions though, Ilka.
Oh.
So,
I'm just-
I was referring to what Dale just said.
I was just trying to process because I didn't,
Realize that we have that?
well, I didn't understand.
I didn't either.
I didn't understand that process or even what that process entailed, because there wasn't anything describing it backup wise. So
Yes,
I,
there isn't.
yeah, so that's. Why the change?
Why not?
I mean,
Because
is
those
there
are
something
actually-
specifically?
Specifically, that those are two that are primarily more in town. And again, to have a clinician being a hospital board seems to make more sense, does it not?
Do we have something, like a policy or procedure or guidelines with regards to this so that I just need something to.
There's nothing, we haven't even been called.
Well, but there's gotta be
meetings on
something through like
regular.
Medicare or Medicaid,
yeah,
Just that there's two
I-
representatives.
but just so I can understand their component and things like that. I just wanna understand it. There just wasn't any backup for me to, so when this was put on, I was a little confused because I didn't understand it.
I was very confused as well.
So-
I still am kind of
This
confused.
is Jamal. We can make sure you guys get the practical guidance for healthcare for the boards. We provided that during the strategic planning, and we will make sure you guys get that as well.
and I've also, sorry to cut you off, Jamal, but I also provided that whenever y'all became board members as well.
Right.
I think
But I
Lisa's the
was.
only one that has not got one yet.
Well, and typically, I look in the packet, to see the backup, and there wasn't anything for me to be able to reference.
Yeah, I
And
didn't
so
either.
I didn't.
I
so
did not cross-reference that.
don't feel like I'm educated enough to vote tonight, if that's okay.
Do we have any compliance meetings next month?
We've never had a compliance meeting, except
Okay.
on emergencies, we can't answer that.
Okay. Let's just make a motion that we table the issue.
Well, first, we have a motion, second on Ilka's motion, so we need to call for.
And
Sorry.
what's-
Yeah,
So we gotta call for a vote at this time.
we have to call for a vote on Ilka's motion.
The first motion, that we approve it.
Yeah, that you remove Cheryl and add Lisa.
Perfect.
One more discussion, I haven't been bad. So,
We all
I
know
don't
the
guess.
truth to this.
I could neither confirm or deny that statement.
I don't feel educated enough, in my opinion, and nothing against anyone, I just don't feel like I have the education to.
Call for a vote, please.
Ludwig,
I'm gonna abstain.
Heisel,
Well, say yes.
Mangum,
So if I say no and it doesn't pass, does this just go away, or is there a way to make sure it's on next month?
So then you have to figure out if you wanna do a motion to table. If you vote on it and it fails,
Now I'm with you. Okay, no.
Hopper,
I'll abstain as well.
Webb,
No.
Okay. Now, I would like to make a motion, we just table the issue till next month's meeting, please.
And I would second that.
Now, if we could call for a vote.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Heisel,
Yes.
Mangum,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Okay, moving on.
Can I, Corey, where specifically would I find that in that
if
packet?
there's a slideshow in there that mentions it and gives you the other resources
Okay.
on what it does. But I think Cohesive has also provided that handout as well.
Okay.
Is there any way to get a copy of my packet again?
You can keep all your email.
It's an email.
It's an email?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, if it's in an email, then
Well, it
got
was
it.
in the board packet 1 month,
You don't know where I put the,
a
We
year
can-
ago,
we-
October,
we-
August, but it's been.
Do you mind
a year
just
prior.
re-emailing that out to us?
yes,
We'll,
That-
we'll,
that's
we'll make a
specific,
point
yeah.
to get it to the whole board.
if I could get the
again.
whole packet.
Yeah.
We'll also make sure we have the appropriate emails for those that are on the committee, because we have sent out some invites and haven't had any luck scheduling, so we'll make sure we have the correct emails.
Cool.
By the way, Dale, yours have been going to my spam, and I don't know why.
Must be related to
I don't know.
something.
You should be able to go in there and change your settings to unspam him on your email.
Sounds like your spam's a little tough.
Well,
Setting.
it's yours, but not Irma's.
Okay, moving on to item number 18, discussion possible action to be briefed by cohesive management on HR matters of actions taken that require executive session due to its nature, a potential public privacy violation that warrants the need to enter into executive session.
And 18 and 19 is basically the same item. 18 was the email, and 19 was my attempt to clean it up, and they both got on there.
So are we saying, are we making, is this saying we need to go into executive session to to talk to cohesive healthcare management about an HR issue? Or are we saying that we need to be briefed on HR issues?
How about both?
Okay.
And I just wanna, this was not something that was included in our packet, the information.
Correct, because it is an HR issue that requires attention, and that does require to go into
I'm lost because Mom has
session.
Oh, you printed it
Okay,
off
so you
before
got
it was
the-
amended.
Yeah, you got the new one language, not the old language, yeah.
Yeah.
There was an
I have-
issue with the meeting code that was not posted in the correct agenda,
Gotcha.
despite like several attempts.
It was kind of funny how that went this time.
Briefing, hospital report. Okay.
We believe we're aware of it and feel
Okay,
like it
if we may
warrants an
go
executive
into
session.
We can't
Uh,
go into executive
Can we-
session because it's not properly listed.
Okay, then how do we properly list it that we can?
Well, it needs to be cited to a particular
All right.
307B 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
All right.
6, 7, or whatever.
Unlike unsolicited positive comments that we wonderfully heard about earlier, unfortunately, unsolicited negative comments do make the round on social media.
Okay, well, timeout. That is on there as a separate item. That's on there as item number
22.
26.
No, no.
No?
The 26. Compliance with disclosure of information to Iowa. Okay.
If it has to do with the social media post, that should be item 26.
Perfect.
So then, items number 18 and 19, we just need to either move past them, if that's what the intent was. Was that the intent, Elka?
The intent was to visit in executive session, we as a board regarding particular, quote, issues that we might need to visit on. Number one. Number two, then to ask specific question possibly regarding progress, timeline, how to proceed,
Right.
etc.
Are you-
Proper,
Are you speaking about a specific incident or complaint?
all. One of it is, but the other one is not.
Okay, well, we can't go into executive session on generalized statements. We have to be more specific to enter executive session.
HR issues within cohesive, is that specific enough?
No,
How-
that's not specific enough.
But we can't use names, we cannot use examples.
You can use names and you can use positions.
So let me ask you this.
And that's 307B1. So you can speak to a specific employment relation. But the problem is, it's hard for us to go into a 307B1 because these are not all regularly salaried employees.
Correct. That's
So
why
we
it
can't
was
use
listed as
307B1.
HR.
But we can't
comments.
go in and generally tell the public, hey, we're going to attend an executive session because of HR issues. We have to let them know what we're going to go back there and talk about. So if there's specific incidences, we have to list it in a way to do it that way.
So will item number 26, the way it's currently worded, will that get us into executive session?
As it relates to the understanding based on my conversation with individuals, yes.
So-
If
But
it's-
that was
has
why,
to do
because
with-
my HR question that I posed here was not related to that. That was a
Okay,
different.
first, you did not pose any HR questions to me.
Well, I put it in writing,
And what you put in writing, we literally copied and pasted and put it on the agenda.
but that's where you come in, was being the legal mind, knowing how to phrase it or how it to put
But
on.
if I don't
That's
know
where
what you
come
mean
in.
by it, I don't know how to phrase it.
Can you reach out and ask how it was meant? It was submitted by Wednesday before the deadline, and the deadline is by Friday. And so if there was a question pertaining to the intent of a specific question of a board member,
It's not
a
my,
trustee,
if you're asking if it's my job to chase you down to figure out what you mean, the answer
it
is
is
no.
your job to reach out to
No,
us, the
it's not.
trust, to help get this what is it that you're here for? We're not, neither are we lawyers, nor are we
Yeah.
skilled in writing how to. I thought that is your position to help those of us on this board to be compliant with the rules and regulation and legalese as it is being required, not just on state, federal, and local level, but because of the fact that it is a municipality and a trust that falls underneath the commissioners. We are the lay people.
So I'll just typically, when I had a question on how to phrase something, I always picked up the phone and called him and said, this is what I want, how does it need to be put on the agenda? I mean, not necessarily for the hospital board, but for the other board, that's how I typically,
And
that's how I handle
And that's
it.
how the 6 towns, they all contact me and say, hey, I want this to go on the agenda, help me with the wording, that way we can have a conversation and do it.
I thought the idea of submitting it by Wednesday at 5 PM was to have it be reviewed and to put into terms so that it is proper for the Friday. I thought those 2 days in between were exactly that, but I'm more than glad to be corrected on that. I thought that is why we submit by Wednesday at 5, so that it can be posted by Friday afternoon.
Yeah, you submit to the city clerk gets with me, I help her with the language, but again, we can't read intent.
All right.
So unless you let her know what the intent is, then I don't know.
Would you like me to include you next time I send it out?
Well, I mean, that's fine, but again, I'm not gonna try to guess what you mean by something. So if there's another incident that you wanted to specifically talk about in executive session, we will not be able to go into executive session to specifically talk about it. Because from my plain reading of what you put, it's looked to me as you was making a request of cohesive to consult you when an HR-related issue comes up in executive session. Because that's how I read it. And so that's how we worded it the way we worded it.
Glad you worded it the way you chose to word it.
So I think we need to make a motion to.
I don't think you have to do anything on this one.
Perfect. So can I move on to the next topic on hand? Item number 20, discussion and possible action in regards to review of the medical staff privileges and credentials of the following providers with possible executive session in accordance with 25 OS 307B1.
Okay, this is pretty routine. These pathologists all work for DIA. This is your notice that they've added some pathologists, or we've re-credentialed in this case. And there's also a scheduled list of providers that aren't necessarily pathologists. It's part of the packet that were credentialed or re-credentialed as well.
So they're pathologists that read our lab reports, I presume?
I'm sorry?
Are they the ones that are reading our lab reports of pathology?
Yeah, and x-rays. Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve all of them.
I'll second that.
If we can call for a vote, please.
Lively,
Yes.
Haskell,
Yes.
Van Dam,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Okay, item number 22. Discussion and possible action regarding the review and approval of medical staff and privileges. This one having special caveat for Amy Sims. Do we need to move into executive session before we go into this discussion? Jamal?
I don't believe so. Jamal's gonna kick this off.
Nope, I was just gonna give some general information. Good evening, everyone. No action needed on the actual, the hire. We just wanted to make sure everyone was updated on the clinic provider search process. We interviewed Amy Sims, who is currently a nurse practitioner and works at Express Wellness in Altus. She has 18 years of experience as a nurse practitioner. When we interviewed her, we were very impressed in her willingness to grow the clinic. We had people in there from the operations side, the clinical side, and as you know from last meeting, Carson voted to participate in the interview. With all that being said, after deliberation, we have agreed that she is the best fit to move forward. Similar to the last provider, she does have that 120-day notice. So the clock will start ticking on that. The good news is as Jeff and Dale mentioned earlier in the call, Kay and the team did a great job of finding coverage until that 120 days is up. And Carson, definitely would like to give you opportunity to speak to this provider since you were in the interview as well.
Yeah, she was amazing. Absolutely amazing. She's local. She lives in the area, in a surrounding town. She has that aura of her, and she just seems to really be excited about this clinic, and excited about the places that she will take it. Has long-standing ties in the area and in the community. Her family does as well. Just a home run. And Jamal, do I understand she has accepted the position?
Yep, we'll be getting with her tonight, and the countdown will officially take place. And just another thing to add, that we're extremely excited about having that consistent provider will just only continue to help the clinic financials as we get the volume up. 340B will correlate as well.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So how many applicants were there? One?
Just her.
Okay, well, my next question was gonna be, how many did you formally interview?
One.
One, okay.
Yeah.
Was she one
Is
of
that
the
not
ones
concerning?
Before, wasn't she
She
part of
was.
the process?
She was interviewed
prior?
last time. Yeah.
We actually had 3 applicants, and
Oh.
yes,
Sorry.
Carson is right. We did interview her last time, and I will say that the team that interviewed her, we've interviewed tons of providers from multiple clinics over the years, and I will tell you, we're not picking her because she's the only one we interviewed. We are confident and excited about her skill set for the clinic.
Can we ask, without being in executive session, why we chose not to interview the other 2? We can, okay. So I asked that question. Why did we choose not to interview the other 2?
We thought this individual had the skill set and experience. From an experience standpoint, Mrs. Sims had greater years compared to the rest, especially as a sole provider, which is very important when you are the only provider in a clinic.
And Jeff wasn't around last year to interview her last time, was he?
Jeff was not, but myself and Cindy was. I was in the interview for Tiffany in this one as well.
Yeah.
I wish we could meet these people when they're local. Back before COVID, we actually got to meet some of them.
And sort of like we just, I'm sorry, go ahead, you go ahead and answer her.
Oh, absolutely. And we, when she's hired on, we definitely want to integrate her and make sure you guys have the opportunity to meet her. That was kind of our approach. That's why we wanted to have a board member sit at the table, so we could have representation from the board during that interview.
So per our discussion last time, we talked about just trying to get somebody in here, and the last person left us. So was that a part of the interviewing process to find out what her, goals are? Do we think she's gonna remain? I'm guessing you're gonna say yes simply because you wanna hire her, but I'm just curious, was that something that was asked?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. We want somebody who puts their roots down. What we're doing now to get coverage month to month, I promise you, we do not want to do on a continuous basis.
No, I understand that completely, which sometimes we make decisions out of desperation, and I just want to make sure that that's not the case here.
I did not feel that way, that I walked away out of that meeting very excited for the clinic and very excited for this community, and this is a provider that will do absolutely amazing.
I think all of that was said of the last one as well, and everybody was very excited, highly excited about the last one.
Yeah.
So I just wondered, did we do a different approach as to the interview, or was it the same kind of questioning? Because was she not local? I mean, she was local.
Who? Yes.
Tiffany. Oh,
Yes,
yes.
she was local.
Did we
and-
do an exit interview to find out why they're leaving us?
I think we know with Tiffany. I think
Okay,
that was-
Jeff,
Yeah.
I think.
Sorry, I missed the last
So
meeting.
Tiffany is opening in conjunction with a group out of Enid,
Okay.
a
Her own practice.
concierge
Yeah.
type clinic to where if you're sick,
She
instead
goes
of
to-
going to a clinic, they
Sure.
go to your office or they come to your home and treat
Okay.
you, is my vague
I've seen
understanding.
that show that was on USA. What was it called?
Yeah. So that's,
That,
was my
that
understanding.
is correct.
I know which
She-
one you're talking about,
She pretty much
Cheryl.
said it was an opportunity of a lifetime.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I just have been that employer that has hired out of desperation multiple times.
Been there too.
Yeah, my clients suffer because of that.
We're on YouTube, aren't we?
Yep. No, just to, yeah, just to be clear, and to hear it coming out of my mouth, we did not hire out of desperation. If we did not feel that this provider could be a great long-term asset for the city of Mangum, we would have just kept our contingency plan going as we have now.
And don't worry, I'll make a TikTok clip of you saying that.
Well, I mean, but at times, I mean, that's, as an employer, that's sometimes what you do, because you need somebody. How long had she been at her previous employer? Am I allowed to ask that? Okay. I don't know what I can and can't if we're not an executive.
You can ask anything you want.
If you're gonna tell you no.
Okay.
The-
How long was she at her previous employer?
I'm still
If you don't know, I understand.
So since,
And she been here
January
since,
of 21,
Yep. Let's see.
she was at, oh, I'm sorry, no.
Jamal,
She was at Med Express. Oh, go
February
ahead.
22.
22.
Daryl, do they have the resumes?
Yeah, I emailed it to him, but I think I went to spam on you. You wanna see the
But
resume?
If I could.
she also worked, she also,
Well, the
From
resumes
no-
probably wasn't included in the packet since it does have personal information. We didn't want to put part.
so
It
from,
wasn't.
she is currently still employed with Elkview General Hospital in Hobart since 2015
15.
and all the way through. And then, like, I mean, she has a ton of experience in wound care. And I want to say we talked a lot about diabetes too in the interview. And I mean,
We need that here.
She's been a nurse practitioner for many,
18
many, many
years.
years.
18 years, I
compared to,
think.
Most that you see that might be interested in something like this. And her husband's a general surgeon. She assists him occasionally. She's got tons of experience.
You want to see?
My impression was is that she really wants this job, so. And I don't think it would be out of order. One of our, which all of our providers are great, but Mary Barnes from Hobart originally is very familiar with Amy, and she's the one that got us together.
Yeah.
So would she be leaving all three of the current jobs?
She'll be leaving Express Wellness. She'll be working here from 8 to 5, Monday through Thursday to noon on Friday. And what she does after that.
Okay. Well, I just noticed she had three.
So, and then I don't want to speak out of turn, but Jeff, are you there?
He's here.
Yes, sir, I am.
Hey, weren't we also talking that still going in with her contract that she would be able to start filling in pretty soon on some days, just not full time? Has that been talked about with her?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. She has sent me, and I forwarded on to Kay Hamilton. But given the outcome of this meeting here, she has given me a list of days in February, multiple days in February, that she can help out the clinic immediately. So she's still obligated to her Express Wellness contract, but her days off, she is willing to come in and help start building that clinic that she wants. That's hers. So absolutely, she's motivated. She comes with a wealth of experience. She is presently seeing 50 to 60 patients a day right now. So whatever we throw at her, I believe she can handle.
Maybe some of them will
And she
follow her
also has
over.
experience with our technology that we've brought in. So I was really excited about
The
that.
Software?
The software that we had brought in for Tiffany, she also is used to using, so. Off the
Everything
wall,
looks amazing.
off the wall idea here, Jeff and Dale, is it possible, one of the things I love about the community here is the open houses that we have, like at the bank, and Dale, you put some on formally at the bank, to introduce her to the community when she arrives formally, is to have an open house at the clinic to introduce her to the community and try to make her feel very welcome.
Oh, and you have chamber, isn't that open
Events.
again?
Yes.
The
Yeah, the
Welcome
chamber's
Center.
open, they're having a membership drive
Okay.
currently.
So that's, there's an option there too.
That's a great idea. We'll work on it.
It's a great idea, Mr. Carson. I'll be happy to come down and attend it with her. But yes, we want her name out there. We want to get her out as much. And she wants to be a pillar of the community as well.
Yeah.
So you mentioned her wound care skills. She is a certified wound care specialist. And she's also loves children. She said that
Yeah.
she likes the kiddos, quote unquote.
Okay. I don't think there's any action there required on that one.
Looks good.
So moving on to item
Well,
number.
time out, wait.
Don't we have to approve?
No.
Yeah, well, aren't you having the
Said possible discussion of possible
privileges and
action.
credentials?
Oh, do we need to approve her credentials
Oh.
Yeah,
for the clinic?
yeah.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we approve Amy Sims' credentials.
I'll second that.
We could call for a vote, please?
Lively,
Yes.
Haskell,
Yes.
Van Dant,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Okay, moving on to item number 24, discussion possible action from Donor Saunders, Daniel, and Anderson on the ongoing litigation, the combined case numbers involving the previous hospital management company. If we could
I'd make a motion. to
make a
enter into-
motion that we enter into executive session at this time.
I'd make that motion.
I'll second it.
If we can call for a vote, please?
Lively,
Yes.
Haskell,
Yes.
Van Dant,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Take, say,
Oh.
no action, and then
Sorry, no action on item
25.
25. And then I'd like to make a motion that we move into item number 26. I'd like to make a motion that we move into executive session.
I'll second that motion.
If we could call for a vote, please?
Lively,
Yes.
Haskell,
Yes.
Van Dant,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes. Do you need to read, do we need to, where'd he go?
He's already gone.
Do we need to read it?
Well, I think you need to at least have the statute specifically written.
Okay. We are moving into executive session in accordance with 25 OS 307 B7. Okay. At this time, do we have any remarks or inquiries by governing bodies, hospital CEO, city attorney, or hospital employees?
You've got to handle 27 first.
Oh, no action taken.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now that we've taken no action, remarks or inquiries by the governing bodies, hospital CEO, city attorney, or the hospital employees. Okay, great. I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Call for a vote, please.
Lively,
Yes.
Hessel,
Yes.
Mangum,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Webb.
Yes. There was a page going around with our emails.